Okay, well, I hope you had a lot of fun deliberating also amongst yourself, visiting other projects, seeing if you can help each other out. We're now going to hear from a few of the judges, basically comments on all of you guys' projects, so that every one of you gets some notes. And then afterwards, we're going to unveil the winners. So, Emilia, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I'm going to talk to group 3. Where's group 3 in the room? Yay, okay. So we really loved this proposal. We think that it's really important to start thinking about how do we do global agreements on AI and backcasting to what are some of the decisions that we make today. Some things that we talked about in amongst ourselves of like what could be good starting points is in thinking through like the relationship between thresholds and evals and how those could connect and like how we could leverage what's being learned in the eval community to help inform and design the thresholds that we may want to be starting to set today. Also thinking about what's happening in other communities on conditional contracts and agreements. So what have been sort of other models that have been developed or being thought about to help sort of start to do that idea of multilateral or bilateral conditional agreements. But overall, we're very excited about the prospect of the conference in the years to come.
Wonderful. Hanu, why don't you go next? Yeah, this one here.
All right, so I'm going to speak here to Group 4, so the BCI OS team. So you really convinced us that this should be done. So we were excited to see that you really are trying to get ahead of the development curve of BCI technologies and thinking seriously about agency and related and privacy. But we did end up debating whether the timing really is right to do something really big and at scale, and whether the kind of technologies in the field needs to mature more in terms of fundamental science. And then one thought that we explored a bit was whether it might be possible to make a start in a more limited setting by focusing on really hard on the needs of the current patient population that do suffer from paralysis, who do need augmentation, who are using BCI already to express themselves and are finding issues with agency and their voice being lost, and whether it might be fruitful to engage with them and patient advocacy groups, and also that way develop some legitimacy and support for the more ambitious version. But very exciting stuff.
Cool. Maybe Kibli?
Yeah, I'll be addressing group 5. I've got your faces, so I'll stare blankly and hope I make eye contact with one of you. But I was really happy with the general plausibility and tractability, especially in the current context of the world. I think that's definitely the default failure mode that you guys have gotten past. I'm really excited to see more focus, and I really like great concrete first, outcome of whatever guys pick come out.
Cool. So I'm talking to the Delphi collaborative proposal. First, I want to apologize for kicking you out of your room and then judging somewhere else. Sorry, guys. So yeah, and your chocolates did not get delivered. Sorry again. So your proposal is close to my heart. I think I would love to see this sort of framework in the world and operating. So there's clearly a lot of really great thought that went into it. I think it's clear that there's a lot more kind of experimentation to consolidate around what is the actual thing, what is the system that is binding all these different inputs and outputs and protocols together. But I hope to see more in the future, and I expect that I will.
Wonderful. How about Christine?
I'm talking to group number 9, the Common Knowledge Group. We were very inspired and excited to have more trusted information sources. We all know what a disastrous situation we're in now, with increasingly lack of overlap between information sources, where people are getting to the point where they cannot speak to each other civilly anymore, and this is politically disastrous. particularly interested to see how you represent disagreement, debate, and political bias. That would be so helpful if we can at least represent that, then we can start to try to heal it. Anthony pointed out, he reminded us that building a crowd-based system is so hard to get people to come on. So we really want to see if there's any way we can leverage Wikipedia already. There was a previous suggestion of Wikipedia Labs. This would be fantastic. Probably some of us here in the room have contacts at Wikipedia. Does anybody have contacts at Wikipedia?
I have an indirect contact. My business partner knows the founder.
Great. And I know the former head of Wikimedia, so she probably has great contacts at Wikipedia. So we urge you to see, is there any way we can leverage Wikipedia on this? And I'm happy to talk to my friends, and hopefully you can help them try to reach out to Wikipedia and try to make some kind of deal with them. Thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the last proposal, which was on the control technology that you talked about. And I think you made a very credible case for the importance of this technology. I think as you think about developing the proposal, I think there are probably some intermediate steps between where we are today with the use of the technology and the sort of very compelling long-term vision that you had. And so a good step would be, what is the next thing to do? So presumably there's something between where we are today and this playing an important role in a broad swath of important decisions. And so some sense for what the roadmap would be a good next step.
All right, great. Now, here's a curveball. We actually put all of our processes out of the window and are now going to award 2 runner-up awards. You can probably already guess who they're going to. Congratulations to Trusted Global Deliberations, and congratulations to Scenario Planning. You both get 5K as a development grant. Congrats! Does anyone want to comment on them? We all had pretty similar comments, I think. So anyone?
Yeah, I'd say for the scenario planning, we all agreed that this just like totally can happen. And that was a huge virtue. Like there's sort of no doubt that the thing can be made, and that it's going to be just incredibly fun to see what comes out of it. There are lots of good ideas in there. And I think we all think the challenge will be like after creating this thing and this awesome corpus of scenarios, getting them out to the world so that they actually have impact and influence. Excited to see it happen.
Anyone want to chime in?
Yeah, I'm particularly excited because I think this group can surface some more controversial topics that more mainstream groups would be hesitant to mention, and that's important. You know, that's one of the things that Foresight can do. We can talk about the edgy things, and I would urge this group to do that. You know, use your independence to say the hard things.
On the trusted deliberation, I think our view was that we definitely need to be doing more experimentation in this area, that there would be value from this process, even if it starts off as being advisory. You know, I personally have a difficult time seeing 60 senators being willing to, cede decision-making power to a process like this. So I'm not like holding my breath for very high stakes decisions that it will have decision-making power, but I could see it playing a very important advisory role. And I definitely like the idea of taking the proverbial person on the street and finding out what they think after they've had an opportunity to listen to experts, to quiz experts, and to debate amongst themselves. So even if we just did more of that, I think that would be worthwhile.
Yeah, and we also thought that a great source for this could also be connecting with others in the community. So there's been a lot sort of prototyping ideas around citizen assemblies and deliberative democracy, and so that there's probably some great allies that can help accelerate this and get this going as well.
Any final comments from any of you?
On the last group, we did think that also that this group, that the team might be particularly well placed to actually win support from AI companies and create an effort of this kind on a scale that hasn't been done before.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, I think we by now really all know who won the 10K award. So congratulations to the Flourishing Foundation. Please come up here and receive your award. Beatrice, could you take a photo for the records? Yeah. Oh, great.
Oh, let me sit on your side.
Come on in here. So awkward. Okay, now maybe one without me in the picture.
Yeah, that's unexpected. Where's the art project out?
Awesome. Well, bring it with you. There is a box.
Wait, there's more gifts.
Oh, there's a box. Okay.
Crucial. Any notes that you want to share on them?
Sure. Yes, I'll
Blown away.
I'll say something. Yeah, I mean, it was so inspiring. I mean, what an idea. Let's look at what actually makes people happier and healthier and try to use that to guide AI. What a concept. It seems so obvious in hindsight, but yeah, I mean, I'm so glad we did this. It's usually Foresight comes up with all this techie hard stuff, and this is more like, no, let's look at, we're biological beings. Let's see what makes biological beings happy.
Yeah, I'm really optimistic. I kind of lived through and watched the whole body positive thing take over. I'm following ESG so closely. I think they're so I want to say hilarious, but they're fun to see how what's happening in there, and it's really rare that something that is morally good and really interesting and fun are the same thing. So this is great.
Any final points? Yeah.
And we also love the certification piece of it as well, and how that's transformed what a B Corp is and what that means for startups and people's buying decisions. And so could really see a movement growing around that for technology.
Okay, wonderful. Unless anyone else wants to comment? No? Great. Yay! We also all want to benefit from it, so we can all hereby sign up to be the test community. Please.
That intuition that what's good for us.
All right, great. Well, yeah, I mean, this is to say also that we were pretty much in agreement, and I think as you've heard that we thought all projects were just really inspiring, and thanks a ton for the incredible amount of work that you put in. It's kind of absolutely mind-boggling to see the amount of kind of prototypes, quality of presentation preparation and pitches that you can create really within the span of just one morning. So thank you all so much for really raising the bar on this one, and thanks AI for helping with that probably in various ways. So thanks everyone for hearing it out. Again, if you are interested in pushing any of these projects forward, please do let us know. Definitely do let FLI know. I thought they were all really wonderful. It's hopefully not the last time that we've done one of these. Definitely the first time, and I think there should be many more. Many of the wild cards that were left on the table and stuff. I think there's a lot more to explore, and maybe even in more formatted scenarios. But maybe for closing, what I'd love to do is if you could take a breather and maybe fill out, Beatrice, if you can link the form. It is linked, okay. I would love to go around in a second and just discuss a few highlights, bubble them out. But before that, in order for us to do these meetings, and in order for us to do these meetings well, it would be absolutely fantastic if you can give us feedback. So this is the part where you can go on the Existential Hope program, and under the important link section, you'll find a link to an Airtable right on the top. And that is a very short feedback form. if you could take like 3 minutes to fill it out. You can always go back to that later. But questions that it asks us is, for example, like what could have made this workshop better, but also what will you potentially want to have a future workshop on. That really helps us in defining what this community finds useful, and we actively use that to basically plan our next years out. So that's one of the useful questions on there. You don't have to go into a lot of depth. A few bullet points are super, super helpful. And again, it's on the public program that you have access to under important links, and I'm going to make it green so you guys can find it. It's also in the WhatsApp group. Great. While you take a few minutes, I'm going to put down the projections, and then we're going to go around and do a few highlights of this workshop, and then a little closing. Heads already up. That's a great sign. I would like to encourage you to think about, basically, we were like really nearing the end of the workshop now. So for closing, I think it's always really interesting, especially as an icebreaker, to start conversations afterwards, to hear a few highlights. So things, for example, a new idea that you've learned, perhaps from a different group and perhaps from your own group, something that you haven't maybe come across yet, you know, a new insight or like a new possible collaboration that, you know, has flourished from here. So if you have any one of those to share, they can serve as really fun conversation breakers afterwards, or also just like pointers of like, I want to collaborate on X. Just here's now a really great time to like just shout that out and announce it so that others can find you in the time that we have afterwards here for drinks, which is quite some time. So maybe let's go around the room. You can just like start by popcorning it out. Perhaps we'll start over here. Sofa? Any highlight? I popcorn to you.
Yeah, what's your idea?
Any highlights? Any new insight you had? Like something that you thought was particularly exciting?
I have a comment maybe. Commonly encourage more collaboration discussions between private sector, public sector, and social sector. I think that's very generic, but it's kind of like Tom's discussion on like, how are things going to change? Like, you know, I don't know.
Cool. Anyone else? Useful learnings, updatings that you've done throughout the workshops, a collaboration that you have either started or want to start? Louis.
I learned a little bit from Stephen, but also from others, about how useful it can be to start putting in place plans for things like big international agreements and so on, well before they actually take place, and the historical precedent for this, which kind of gives me hope that, you know, some of the things that we're doing at events like this and similar events might actually be useful when it comes to some of those things around transformative AI and other technologies. Thanks.
I love it. Okay. Anyone else? Popcorn over to somewhere here. Not all at once. Great.
I would just add that I really appreciated the format. It was nice to have like some time in groups to have an excuse to get to know some people, and also some like unstructured time to be able to wander around and have meals and interact. It felt like a nice balance of those activities, and I really enjoyed the like just general vibe around like discussing ideas and having a time and space to do that. So thanks.
Plus on vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, Amanda. Okay.
I feel like I've been so often surrounded by communities where I have to like do a lot of work to like convince or like be like, but the positive side, and it's just it's like so heartening and such a like, oh, good feeling to be in a place where people are like, yeah, the positive side, like we want that, like it just feels good.
Yep. Unusual. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So as some of you know, I work a lot on text clustering, especially using LLMs for clustering strategies. I love the very beginning where we actually clustered ourselves, because that gave me the time to imagine like, okay, if I was actually a data point and I had a way to say, you know, which ones are actually most similar to me. I got so many ideas about how to do a better LLM clustering because of how much time we've taken. I've never like existed through a clustering process like this. So that was actually very unusual and novel. And that was very meta, but it was actually really productive. Like I wrote like 7 ideas I want to try as a result. So that was very cool.
Oh, anyone else? Okay, well now the hands are getting up. Starting here, then in the back, and then someone in the front.
It might sound a bit silly or superficial, but the view for me and the fact of operating, if you're attempting to wisen up, well, amazing.
It has
really.
a good overview effect, for
Yeah,
sure.
because time, space, we're trying to project ourselves in space, and time is the same thing, so it really helped me. It was really, really
There's
helpful.
a rainbow, then a zeppelin, now the sunset. We get it all. Yeah, behind you.
I've had an algorithm that I've been stuck on for a really long time. This is unusually similar to Dare's. And through conversations last night, like while we were drinking, I had a ton of new ideas on how to solve it, which is great news because literally this has been 4 or 5 months that I've been stuck on it. But I think part of it as well is just a sense of optimism that it's worth solving, kind of a sense that there's other people that are also thinking in similar ways. So I think, you know, a dual thing, like the motivation from within, but also like the cognitive way to go about it. Who's next?
I like the fact that everyone is just generally so open to new ideas and provoking that in each other in a positive way across the board. Like with the clustering guy over there, that makes me think we should take every AI safety researcher and enact their research in a play by Ella or something. And that's like some crazy idea. I think it's probably a bad idea. I don't know, but you know, someone could try it, and people would generally be supportive of fun stuff like that. So it's a great general community you've created here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for this opportunity to come here. As a Chinese, I have a very good experience to work with our American team members, you know. I'm very enjoying the work with Americans. I hope every Chinese people have experience to do that, and I hope they will be enjoying and the better this kind of relationship. Justice.
Yes. Americans, Europeans, others. I also enjoy working with Americans.
Hi, my name is Mamun Mia. I'm mostly working in the research setting as a scientist. So I didn't have much experience and exposure in this kind of setting. You know, bringing any technology or any research development to more in the commercial setting where startups can develop. So I feel like this event, hackathon, connected me with like-minded people, and where I can actually bring my technology. What I'm working on is earthquake hazard and risk mapping for the Bay Area. I'm developing an AI tool. I hope in future I'll be better able to inform and leverage the skills from the network that I'm building here. Thank you.
Cool. Any final bits and pieces? One, and did I see one over there? No? Yeah, okay. Last 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's make them quick.
I just want to say I've really appreciated having the opportunity to talk with and attempt to explain stuff to a bunch of very intelligent people with differing backgrounds and see what works and what doesn't work. This is so valuable to me.
Cool. And we'll go over here, and then I'll come over to you.
Just very quickly, it's delightful and it's inspiring to be around so many people who already agree the problem exists, and then different ways to try to attack it. And then when you go through it, you learn there's more nuances and complications, but people are still trying to solve it. And it's just wonderful. Thanks.
Cool. Behind you.
I love how generally organized the Google Docs is.
Sometimes more, sometimes less.
I just thought it was very interesting to observe what people thought institutions are, and the kind of patterns and constraints that people kind of have in their heads when they think, I'm going to create an institution. And gives me ideas for how we can build other kinds of hackathons in this realm.
Love it. And by the way, he is leading a wonderful hackathon. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, others have said already, commented already on the prevailing sense of hope and optimism and how tangible it is, and I've certainly felt incredibly energized just by spending time with each of you. And kind of one thought I just had just now was one of the last conversations I had was around the idea of, I sort of couldn't help pushing immune metaphors for for everything, but what is the digital immune system? What is the immune system against AI risk or existential risk? What is the inoculation? What is the vaccine? And what I kind of realized as people were speaking here is it's us. We are it. We are the inoculation.
Great.
White blood cell.
Okay, final one over here. And then we can also maybe...
Yeah, so what was very valuable for me was the kind of breadth of the people that are here. And a fun fact is that jet lag wakes me up around 3 in the morning, and I get on a call with my co-founder in South Africa, and he says, oh, you have to talk to this guy called Aviv. We're going to set up a call. Glenn at Microsoft is going to make the intro. It's going to be on Zoom. Do you have time next week? And I said, oh, I sit next to him like 8 hours yesterday and 8 hours today. And that's when it clicked. Like, it's really a wonderful place to be able to meet so many people that we can collaborate with in one go.
Great. It's like, what is it, engineering serendipity or something? Okay, awesome. Well, with all the highlights in place, Aviv, did you want to respond to this? Okay. Fine.
Sorry, that was a little yeah, no, I think like I love little micro facilitation things that just make everything like go well. And so I really appreciated having the way you did the bios in the Google Doc, that then like it minimizes work for the organizers to some extent. But not only that, it enabled people to come in being used to being in a Google Doc. And then you moved stuff over to the other doc, and then it created the sort of like, oh, wait, or it's not a blank page anymore. And so you just could like jump in and feel like there was already like all this deep work, and you're already in this participatory frame. And so I actually was raving about that to my partner last night. Like I was just like, I just appreciate these things and like want to collect them all, because how else are you going to make global deliberations that work? And but I also am just like overjoyed to see that I'm building an organization that's trying to build the infrastructure for the thing that we pitched. And like the fact that the thing that we pitched is so much bigger and grander, and like the thing that we're aiming for, that has buy-in from people here. Like that is both from the participants who joined and like we're excited to help work on that, and then the judges. That is also incredibly exciting to me. Sorry, that was a little...
I agree, and I can't wait for a global deliberation process on Google Docs with everyone in it. The entire world on a Google Doc.
We need better Google Docs too. I made that one.
Okay, well, with that, I want to give a few words to Emilia to close it out from FLI. Then I'll say a few words, and then you're off to drink land or snack land. And yeah, come on up here.
Sure. All right. So I'll make this quick because I know I stand between you and drinks and the sunset. But first, thank you so much, Allison, for this and for the Foresight Institute. We're so thrilled to support this workshop and the existential hope work. And I think that's something that you may not all be as familiar with. If you're familiar with our organization, I think FLI is probably known best for its work on the risk mitigation side. But since our founding, there was a reason we chose to be called the Future of Life Institute, which was that we wanted there to be a flourishing future for all life on this planet, not just us as human species, but all life. And our original sort of logo, which has been hotly debated, was a tree. And on one side of the tree, it was kind of dead and sad. And on the other side, it was all leafy and flourishing. And that's how we think about a lot of what we do, is both avoiding that scenario of the risk scenario of sort of the dead tree, but also how do we actually steer towards a positive future? And that what does flourishing look like? And that's not going to happen by default. So the work I do at FLI is I lead our futures program, which is primarily dedicated to sort of that second tenet, which is what are we steering towards and sort of what kinds of futures do we want to live in. We've done a few projects recently that sort of inspired us to really formalize this, both collaborating on the existential hope work with Foresight. We ran a world building competition on AI. We did a positive future screenwriting competition, and just felt this general sort of need in the zeitgeist that like we really need to think about where we want to steer towards and get more people excited and thinking about that, and also hopeful about what our future with technology could be, because I think we sincerely believe that it could be really, really great. So on that note, we have some upcoming projects that I just want to put on your radar as sort of like a little bit of a spoiler, which is in the next couple weeks, we'll be announcing a request for proposals on sort of 2 aspects. And I think sort of both of them were covered in some of the projects we heard about today, so want to make sure it's on everyone's radar. One track on that will be thinking about the role of AI in its relationship to the Sustainable Development Goals, and we have a few that we've highlighted in there. So if you're interested in sort of AI sustainability, what that role could look like. Is it necessary? What do we have today that we can use? What is it that we still need? That RFP explores some of those questions. And then the second one is very much in line with the workshop we had today, which is thinking about artificial general intelligence and highly capable AI systems and the capacity of our institutions to govern those, and what would new institutions look like, or updates to existing institutions need to be in order to realize a great future with AI. So if you're interested in applying to either of those, keep your eyes peeled on the FLI website. And I'm happy to chat with anyone about Positive Futures work over drinks.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. Well, now I'm the last person between you and drinks. Yeah, just in terms of like wrapping up the workshop, thank you guys so much, for supporting this. I think, I think it was really interesting to see just the breadth of different proposals that came out of this, and then just how quickly people jumped into work. So thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, we are hoping to do possible future iterations of those, and we will be reviewing what you guys submitted on the surveys as well. I think in terms of follow-ups after this, we will be basically editing the final project presentations after this, and they will come to you. And we will also try to create a report, like basically like more of a condensed write-up of like your different proposals, to the extent that we can kind of like make sense between your Google Docs and your your individual presentations and so forth, and try to wrap this up with a nice bow, so that we can actually share this work a little bit more broader. Yeah, so if you're interested in basically collaborating on any future opportunities that arise from there, please let me know. Please do still fill out the participant form if you haven't done so yet. Feel free to just like use that even now to see who you still want to connect with. It's definitely pretty useful. People have still been filling it in, updating it all day. I've seen people online there all day, and that probably won't stop over the next few days. So please really take that by the hand. And then in terms of like other bits, like we do technical workshops in like neuro, molecular nanotechnology, longevity, space, and AI. The next one that's coming up here is on multipolar scenarios, especially using cryptography and security in these scenarios to basically create secure cooperation between humans and AIs. That will be in May it will actually be here again. Then we have a whole innovations and neurotech for AI safety workshop at Lighthaven, also in May. So there's a bunch of like related workshops that we do. So if you are interested in any of these, feel free to be updated on those. We have a fellowship program, obviously, where the applications are closing in August. We have many of our wonderful fellows here, lots of prizes, and then our Vision Weekends, the annual end-of-year gatherings along the way. So there's a bunch of different individual kind of like opportunities to plug in. We'll also, ask you to opt into basically be added to a few of our seminar groups in case you are interested in basically staying up to date in a virtual community where different people in this group have presented and are often presenting into. It's like a little bit more of a closed container to like share your work, where team it with each other, and also share it a little bit wider to the public. And then there's lots of other interesting projects, like a world building course that we have coming up in the Existential Hope track that's launching soon. So if you're interested in basically like just discussing possible collaborations, we're like our doors are pretty open. And I want to thank everyone from the wonderful staff and all of our volunteers who've helped so wonderfully throughout the entire day. And Anna, who's probably out there, hopefully not putting out any fires, but already setting up the next steps. And you're really free and welcome to hang out here until 7. And then I think if there's a contingent that still wants to go to another bar afterwards, I'm happy to at least like direct you there and possibly come, who knows, ask me later. But thank you so much for making this such a successful experiment in my view. And yeah, I hope to really soon see you at the later one and talk to me at drinks about anything you want. Thanks everyone for coming. It was absolutely great.